When we released our legendary TAC-21 chassis, people have been asking, doesn't it affect my accuracy when I mount a scope so high? So how would we test that? Well, we want to do an extreme. We want to mount that optic as high as we possibly can so you can still shoot it comfortably, and then at the same time see if we can notice any significant accuracy differences. All right, let's take this shot. Okay, let's go talk to our product testing manager, Ryan McLean, to see what he thinks of how we can put this through the test.
The reason people want to have that bore, or the close to the bore line as possible, is for hunting. It's always been, it's easier to calculate it out. Height over bore is better to have close to it if you don't have a Kestrel or you don't have any way to calculate it out properly. Height over bore really doesn't matter now when you're running, say, a Hornady app or running a Kestrel or something like that. It's just a matter of putting it in there, make sure you got the height over bore correctly, and rock and roll. What we'll do is we'll go and sight it in at 100 yards, and then I got a spot we can go out to. I think we get about 800 yards. Realistically, we just put the information into our Kestrel, and it's going to puke out a number for us to dial to. And that should be as easy as that.
Cool, sweet. I can't wait.
So, finally got it ready. I'll bring it out to you. So one issue I don't know what I'm going to do is how I'm going to get it there.
Oh my goodness.
It's not
Okay,
really
I wasn't expecting it to be that high. How much is that?
I actually haven't measured it yet. I know that the base was 18 inches when we decided to do it, but that add another little bit here for the scope rings, yeah, and then obviously to the action. I'm estimating it's right around like 22 inches, 21 inches.
Oh, wow, okay. So, lining up behind this, behind this thing, you're gonna have to shoot it. Yeah, this is something else. So, somehow, you have to, prop something up there.
I think literally put it against your hip.
Yeah, put it against, yes, right. Yeah, there you go.
And we'll have to do it off a higher table.
But technically, if somebody's, okay, we'll find out just the extreme of it, if somebody had a relatively high optic right around here and they just wanted to be able to comfortably have their head raised, we'll find out if that makes a difference or not.
Yeah, for sure. We'll go get this thing lined up, get it zeroed in later this week and have some fun.
Okay, can't wait to see what the results are.
Yeah, neither can I. Okay, we're just setting our target up here at 100 yards. We're going to drop a plumb line on it, make sure that our reticle is plumb, make sure our level on our scope is level, and then we're going to add a couple LRA levels to the whole setup as well, make sure everything lines up really nice. The plumb line is also going to help us when we do throw the high mount on to make sure that we do stay as plumb as possible. So we zeroed the scope real quick with a regular mount on top of the TAC-21, and then we pulled that off, put it onto the high mount, the sky high mount that we're calling it.
So, how do we do this? That's what we're trying to figure out. Oh. So interestingly, we bore sighted it, and the optic is pointing approximately at the same area where we bore sighted it. So we're going to now see what actually happens when we take the shot. We're just going to shoot at a clay pigeon or something like that in the berm and see how close we are with having this rifle zero.
I think we're good.
I think we're dead on. Dang.
Well, we're going to be on paper for sure.
Yes, we are going to be paper. When you don't have staples. High-tech target mounting. So the challenge now is going to be, like, we are pretty confident we're going to get the next shot on paper, which is the third shot.
Yes.
We have to do about a 4 mil adjustment.
Yeah.
And we're going to try to make as accurate a shots as possible. This is probably, what, a 3/4 MOA rifle?
Yeah, it's about that, yeah. With factory ammo, it's about 3/4 MOA rifle. So, so if we're sitting around, a 3/4 to 1 inch group is where I'm looking for. So we'll send around, making a quick adjustment off of that if it's way off. If it's pretty close, we'll probably send 2 more rounds and then make a final adjustment from those.
Yeah. All right, we're green. We're on target in the middle. We're still green.
I'm on.
All right.
Not bad.
Where are we?
So you're on the bottom right hand.
Oh, I see it.
yeah.
Right there. Okay, so let's make those adjustments.
Yeah. Okay.
I do back away from this optic a bit more than normal because, you know, it does. Okay, here we go. Okay, that didn't come up near enough.
Yeah, it looks like I come up with like another half a mil, and then come right about 2/10.
Uh-oh. My stick did not work.
No, it did not.
Okay, I'm gonna go with the target right above it. Sorry, just the
diamond right above it.
Yeah, right diamond. Okay, we can make a group with that.
Yeah, let's go off of that. That's pretty good.
That is pretty good. I'm not unhappy with that. Well, that is a 3-round group there,
It's about an inch.
and that's about an inch.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it up 1/10 and get left 1/10 again, and I think we're gonna call her good there.
We are here. It's been several.
No, don't tell them where we're at.
All right, we are here at an undisclosed location. It's been several weeks since we were at the range shooting with the ridiculously high scope base.
So now we're gonna go out to distance, and I've got targets set up at 520 out there.
So basically what we are expecting then is that, aside from that it's difficult to shoot, but when we are on target, that it should behave and be on target like any other rifle.
Correct.
In other words, that the scope over bore distance does not matter at all, except for how comfortable you are behind the rifle. All right, well, let's get this going.
Okay, cool. Let's grab some ammo and rock and roll. We're gonna call it 20-inch height over bore. So I'll get this.
So what will be interesting is to see in the Kestrel how, if our dope changes based on that height over bore.
Okay, I'll make up 2. I guess I've got lots here. I'll create 2 exactly the same, other than the height over bore.
I think that the height over bore, well, we know that, I think that technically the angle doesn't change. The only thing that changes is we're looking from a bit further distance. We're from 20 inches higher up. So it has to have at least a slight, very slight amount of extra angle, but very little. That's what I think.
3.9 mils difference.
Just by that, with a 20-inch difference.
Yes.
Look at this little graph. It explains it for you perfectly.
In the first graph, you can see that the typical height of the scope over the bore is about 2¼ inches. What this does is sets up the gun so that the peak of the arc, the blue line represented here, is right around the 100-yard mark. And what this allows is that out past this 100-yard mark, we have to add on elevation to our turrets to make sure we can impact our target downrange. Now when we go to look at the 20-inch scope base, you're gonna see that our trajectory is a lot steeper, and we start lower than 0 by about 20 inches and work our way up to 100 yards and keep on going above that point for this arc. The arc is much longer as well, and where this line is above that sight line, we're actually having to go into the negative territory for our elevation. Once we get out past 580 yards, that's actually when we start getting into the positive elevation that we have to add to make sure we can hit our targets. The problem with this setup is that most modern scopes are set up with a 0 stop in them, or they don't have a whole lot of elevation on the bottom end after you have 0 to at 100 yards. So we run into the situation where we can't actually dial for any targets down inside of 580 yards. So if we wanted to avoid this situation where we didn't have to go into the negative territory on a scope for elevation, we could actually shift our 0 on the gun out further to say right around 300 yards plus or minus about 60 yards, allowing us to have it zeroed at the peak of the arc, and then anything past this distance we would just have to add the elevation like a standard gun.
Now, this is not the ideal situation though, because having 100 yard zero is always a better situation because you have less issues with environmentals coming in. You don't have to deal with wind for blowing your bullet left or right, usually as much, and it just gives you a better zero at 100 yards, a more accurate zero at 100 yards.
All right, let's take this shot. This is going to be dead center,
Yeah.
providing the wind
Yeah, you got about
stays the same.
Got 0.5 dialed in.
I've got 0.5 dialed in for wind, and I'm 0.5 dialed down for elevation.
Probably going to be just a touch low, but you should let's send her at that.
All right, here we go.
So just off the left there, so probably 0.4 for wind.
But elevation was perfect.
Elevation's perfect, yeah. So let's send a little group down there, Martin.
Okay.
Let's use the same hold and see how good your natural point of aim is.
My natural point of aim is very unnatural right now.
Yeah, so just left of it, so pretty much on the same elevation. That's just a wind call. Yeah, you got a nice little group down there.
Yeah, that is a nice little group.
Okay, so obviously accuracy is not an issue with this height.
We are still of the opinion that it is only about calculating and nothing about accuracy.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So when somebody builds a beautiful rifle and they're like, I'm going to put the scope this high, they post a pretty picture on the internet, whatever, and people are like, dude, your scope's too high. The answer is, if it's comfortable, who cares?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if it's comfortable, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you're dealing in a situation like this where we've gone to the extreme, obviously that whole dialing down situation inside of a certain distance is a problem. But we're at an pretty extreme height here.
Very extreme, because really what we're talking about is probably a max of 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch difference of...
Precisely.
Yeah.
And at that much, there's almost nothing. From right now, it appears that that high scope base does nothing other than having your absolute zero be out of whack.
Yeah.
We also wanted to go and see if the height over the bore affected how cant was seen downrange. We did start to play with this a little bit, but realized quickly that we were going to need a whole other video to explain this, so stay tuned for that video.